What's
Hey,
up,
Jay and
everybody?
Ashley Nelson here. Jashley's Married to a Realtor podcast, episode 2.
Podcast, YouTube, cast. We're casting. We're just going to cast.
Just going to cast. Wow.
Cast it everywhere.
Wow, he's intense today. Every day,
day.
actually. So, we do this podcast, this live video, this vlog, whatever you call it, because we are passionate about our love for each other, our love for the Lord, our love for business. And we want to show other couples that you can be married to a realtor and you can still be totally in love, but it does come with a unique sense of challenges sometimes. But so does every marriage. So we're just here to share from us and some other couples. And we have an amazing couple today coming on with us.
So Paul and Amber Sunshine Callahan, Icon Agents, out of Orlando, Florida. They're awesome people. And their story, guys, now I honestly can tell you, I don't know how they do it. How many kids?
Not many
How
people.
many kids?
6 kids.
6.
7 and under.
Kids under 7 years old. Now, how can an agent or married to a realtor kind of thing go with someone that has under 6 kids under 7 years old? So I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to bring these people on. They may look sleep deprived the first time you see them on this podcast because
but
I don't know how they do it. Let's bring them on. I love these folks. Paul and Amber Sunshine Callahan.
Hey.
Paul, wake up.
What?
Wake up, man. Wake up. We're here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
So
for
glad to
having
be
us.
here.
So first of all, just give us a brief background in real estate, like where you're from, where you actually, service clients in real estate, how long you've been in real estate, how, who got in first, did you get in at the same time? Just give us a little snapshot.
I'll let you start.
Definitely real estate wasn't my first career choice. I was automotive. So I was doing automotive, and I feel like because you kind of started doing the real estate first, but
Okay.
I would say you go first.
2015.
I'll take it over.
To say that he is a third-generation Floridian.
I am.
We're from Florida, Central Florida, so we service a really large area. We always say it's an hour to Orlando from Orlando. So we have a very big service client base that we have here, but we're in Central Florida located, and we've been doing real estate since early 2015, January, matter of fact. I started, and then Paul joined me a couple months later due to some job changes.
Yep.
And so he
best job change ever, though.
Yeah, he asked me to join him for life, and I asked him to join me in business. And so neither of us, I think, have really ever looked back on either. So that's kind of where we started.
Yep.
So how many, if any, children did you have at that point when you entered into real estate?
None.
We
had.
You got that right. There you go.
We had none. And we were just. First year in, we were just working, probably 80 hours a week, just because we didn't have anything. We kind of just hit the ground running with real estate, and we would open the building and close the building. That was
Our first year, our thing is we're going to die. And so we would just keep going until we no longer had to say, I think we're going to die. Like things started working. Our first house to sell wasn't our own, thank God. And, it really wasn't the plan, but we kind of got thrown in, and we were hungry, and we just made it happen together.
So when did this? Okay, so y'all have this is. I still
have another question before this.
But I want to get to the meat.
I know, but not yet.
6 children under 7.
I know,
and they're selling real estate.
That is a big topic, but also a big topic is, before we get to that, is just going from other types of jobs into this type of job where you're working 80 hours a week and you're both doing it. Tell us what that looked like. How did you manage that between the two of you? Was it easy? Was it like you had to say, oh, I do this and you do that? Like, we're very real on this podcast, which we know y'all are. So just give the nitty gritty. And then it can also have some good tips because I know y'all been through it,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, do you want to start?
You start. You had.
He's scared.
For the record, I gave him the opportunity to talk. Okay.
You did. You did.
So
I'm a smart man, though.
Well, I came from an HR, like Target executive background and ministry. So I had done a lot of, I call it in my first life, we did a lot of music and traveling, and then we needed the real job. And that turned into being an HR executive for Target. And then from that, more into ministry. My whole family's in ministry. We're in ministry together. So that's always just a big heartbeat and a continuing theme, even into real estate with our family. So I came out of doing that and marketing kind of thing, and he was doing mechanical. He was running automotive shop. So not really in sales, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, anybody who says real estate's not sales, then they haven't done enough real estate, because you are in sales. So you're with people, and sales has a big umbrella. You know, you can make that sound however you want it to sound, but for neither of us, I don't think either of us woke up one day and was like, I think real estate would be good. Like, that just wasn't really where we were at, but we fell into it. We were prompted by people we didn't know and was top producers in our area. They kept meeting us in a different setting and saying, you guys would be so good at real estate. And I was like, I don't want to be a realtor. So, I mean, no offense to realtors everywhere, myself or my industry. At this point, I love it and can't imagine doing anything but this. But at the time, I was like, I don't see it. And so, but, you know, long story short, we took the class, did the thing, kind of started working it. His job changed all of a sudden. And so we were kind of like, what was supposed to be like the secondary income to pay off college loans and go on vacations and maybe start preparing to have a family became the primary only source. Income. And as you all know, like, that's not overnight most of the time.
Yeah.
So I got the day I got my name tag, my first name tag with my first company, he comes home and says, I don't have a job. And we were,
oh my gosh.
We're gonna die. I mean, that was, I think, before my brain could think to talk to my mouth. That's what literally came out. We're gonna die. And my parents took us to lunch, and I got my first listing that day.
Wow.
For several years, that was my highest price listing. And we just kind of knew, like, in that moment, like, God's got this. He's got us. I told him, what are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, he had gone through the class to get his license, but he wasn't licensed yet. And that wasn't the plan, right?
It wasn't the plan. I mean, I mainly was going to have that job. I was going to help her on the weekends with open houses, and
he wanted to flip because we were those people.
Yeah. I'm handy.
He's like, I'm going to get my license, babe, so that we can flip properties when you find good ones. And I was like, said every realtor couple everywhere. And good luck to all
and you think, and it looks easy. It looks easy on TV.
I mean, I look like Joanna, right? Like, come on.
We watched more home renovation shows prior to getting into real estate, which I don't think we watch a single one anymore.
No, I can't. We watched the Jashley show go down on casting platforms everywhere. So, no, that was not the plan. And so I was just like, well, I think if you get your license, we can make this work. Like, we're just going to have to hustle and keep hustling.
I want to ask you guys this. Was that initial first year? I mean, I think a lot of people come into real estate and it looks so glamorous, obviously. And they come into real estate and they're like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going straight into real estate. And that's really difficult to do sometimes to kind of ease in. And in your situation, Paul obviously didn't have the job. I mean, did that make it hard for y'all? Like, was that a really struggling year?
Or was that more of a catalyst? Like, we have to do this.
I think it was a huge catalyst. It was a big fire under our feet to really, like, I mean, every moment. That's why I said we were working 80 hours a day.
It was go big or go home.
Like, we were just always there trying to absorb so much that we could, like, by teachers and trainings and all that stuff. Like, what's the quickest and best way that we can acquire deals? And
to this day, I'm not really sure what we were doing in the office, except for we were just so new that everything we did took longer. like
Yeah.
writing an
Yeah.
offer took forever. Putting a listing
Yeah.
in and putting that took forever. I mean, I remember the first one I did probably took me like, I'm going to sound really stupid after I say this out loud, but I think it took me around like 6 hours because I was such a perfectionist and I didn't know where to find anything.
Hey,
like,
then you learned. You learned.
Word for word.
Read
It's like,
every
all right,
single detail. And I'm like, what if we're a foot off in the room dimension? I mean, like, just to an insane level of like,
Yeah.
this is in the MLS, I could get fined. I mean, like my stress level over my
Yeah.
job and being,
Yeah.
and not to say that we would do a shoddy job now, but the things that you learn.
Well, you
right?
learn.
Like,
You learn.
You learn.
Yeah, you
get
learn
this
it.
information now. It would take me 45 minutes and I can input everything. But
I've
I
got
think
one.
part of the 80 hours a week was just that we didn't know what the heck we were doing. And we were having to do it so well so that it would convince others to give us a shot. I remember one of our first clients, actually, she was our RN. And her mother or mother-in-law, I don't remember exactly, but somewhere in that range, was saying, I think you should get somebody a little more experienced, right? Like this is their first one. And she's like, Mom, I had to like put people's lives in my hands the first time. I'm sure she can figure it out.
Yeah, I love that.
That connection and that relationship, because I mean, yeah, and we did figure out, and she got a great price, and the whole transaction was fine. But I just remember like that was like we were dependent on it. I don't know what we would have. I think I borrowed money just to get my license. Like that's kind of, we were like week to week, month to month sort of situation.
I mean, I think we literally had maybe $2,000.
I mean, it wasn't enough, and he wasn't getting any like.
We've been there.
So it was like.
And y'all were rookie of the year, weren't you?
For the state of Florida.
For the whole Florida, for the state of Florida.
So let me ask y'all this. So you can each answer this separately. So that first year, you're totally in build mode. You're going 100% all the time. What would you say as a couple, not talking real estate, but as a couple, what was the biggest challenge for you doing that and accomplishing that? And then also what was the biggest blessing about doing it as a couple?
Probably the biggest challenge was obviously trying to figure out our strengths and weaknesses, figuring out who likes to do what. And I think from the start, I think I was more of the kind of data entry and stuff like that. Amber was more of the like talking to people and showing houses and doing all that. And then it kind of switched in the end, where then once we got into it, then I became the buyer's agent. She did listings just because she could just get that paperwork in, get everything done, and then you get kind of tired of driving people around. So I can handle driving around and showing the houses and stuff like that. But
you guys,
for all my people seeing this, I love you.
Oh, it's
good at knowing how to build things and answering your questions. And I'm like, I don't know, it's wood rot. Like I just don't worry about that because I'm married to a guy who can fix it. So you have somebody on hand who can say, here's the deal.
And you could hang out with the kids because we definitely had.
Well, that happened later. But the first year, I think the funnest part was doing it together because, lunch breaks were together and dinner was together. And he had a schedule before where I was like a married single person. Like he worked a weird shift hour. And so he would go in at 10 in the morning and get home at almost 10 at night a lot of times. And so it was like being married, but being single.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice being able to work together because we had been, with that job I had, we had almost been apart. I mean, I wasn't really able to do a lot of the family
like all the family functions and the family's going to dinner. My whole family, for those of you watching that don't know, it's like I'm the oldest of 7. They all pretty much live locally, and we're very connected. We like to hang out together and stuff. So it was a really big life adjustment change, and because he is my best friend, like that was actually a lot of fun for us. I think the challenge came at one point once we figured out each other's strengths and weaknesses in the business, or strengths and opportunities, like as I like to say, like it's not a weakness, it's just an opportunity to learn something for both of us, is that I am big picture, he's super detailed, and so I'm like, let's just get this done. And he's like, but what about this little thing? And I'm like, oh.
Nah.
So but learning to work, like not to become each other's boss. that started to shift at one point, and that was not so good for the connection that we have. So learning to not, like, we had to come to a place where we were like, okay, what do you want to do in this? And what do you want to do in this? And then really kind of take those paths. And there have still been times like COVID and other things that have come up that have caused those to meld back together, because somebody has to be with the kids or somebody needs to do X, Y, or Z. So we have to learn to work together in those places. But I would recommend any couple doing this to really kind of set, hey, I'm going to do this part and you're going to do that part. And we're a team, so we've got each other's back. That doesn't mean hands off, you can't touch it. But so that you're not really in each other's wheelhouse and the other person can grow. Like let your spouse grow in their opportunity. And I'm kind of talking to people who are married to realtors, like 2 realtors in the home.
Right. Well, that's what y'all are. So,
I want to talk about these 6 kids. 6 kids.
Yeah.
Under 7 years old, and you guys are major production agents selling lots of real estate, icon agents. How do you do that? Like, what is a day? I mean, is this like is there like a carpool?
And it wasn't like
of kids?
Think about it, when they got into real estate, no children.
Yeah.
So also like in a very short amount of time, 6 children.
Very short.
So yeah.
So tell that story about how you guys got 6 kids so quick.
Okay, I'll start. It was
I like to start and then I finish.
It was 2016, and we had wanted to start a family. It didn't quite happen, so we had started. We had met some people and started talking about the foster system and stuff like that, and so she was like, "Why don't we try it?" And so we kind of took a leap of faith, took the test. Or took the course. It was nine weeks, I think, and we didn't even got our license paperwork back, and we were getting a call for a kind of a respite deal where they needed help.
We were licensed. Hold on, let me correct that, because I don't want somebody coming back.
We were licensed, but we didn't get our paper.
Yeah,
didn't have it in hand.
They hadn't had time to drive a stamp to send it to us or send the email, but they're like, "Hey, you're officially licensed, and what do you think about?" Like in the exact same phone call. And so we got our very first placement. Our son Joe came, and within 90 days, we went from 0 kids to 4 kids, a 2.5-year-old, and 3 kids under 3 months. So
oh my goodness!
So it was wild, and that year we were sleep deprived. If I worked with you in 2016 and 17, God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that with us. And I remember very little about that transaction. I'm sure it was something.
How did y'all pull it off though? Like with I mean, these were little babies. I mean, like who was getting up, or how were you dividing and conquering and still being in production, selling that many houses together?
It was, I mean, because the complications that we had with the twins, both of us had to get up and feed the kids, just because Judah took about 45 minutes per feeding to eat. And Lainey would do normal, but like we were both getting up and having to deal with that. So
we just had to work together. I mean, we were both sleep deprived. You were just in the thick of it together. There wasn't like Mr. Mom or Mr. Dad. It was just the Calla crazies. I mean, we were just.
I don't know. I don't even know like if we had like blow ups or fights or like I can't remember a thing.
How did you maintain the 2 of you? Like how did you maintain?
It was the perfect year because we don't remember. We were too tired to be anything but present.
I have to go back and look at photos.
The pictures and the videos look like we were doing pretty well. I have a Christmas picture of the 2 of us sitting on a couch like this. Like the most horrible.
Mouth open. Everything.
Do not let that be the thumbnail for this video, Jay Nelson.
That is funny.
But like, yeah, it was pretty intense. Like we were just tired all the time, but we were excited. Like business was going well. We actually picked up, I think we did 7 more or 8 more transactions that year. Over prior. So there was growth in our business, and then our family was exploding, and we were just excited. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
So it seems like positivity and excitement and adrenaline actually can serve you very well.
Well,
I mean,
family and, people, we have amazing clients. I will put that
Yep.
out there. Clients become friends with us. I mean, you're 30 days with people in a really unique time in their business and in their lives. It's usually celebratory. There's usually a reason behind moving outside of we just want a pool. Although that's a good reason. If you're here in Central Florida, I got you. But, there's usually something more to it. So you get to really like be with people, and those people become our friends. And people thought we were nuts. I think they wanted to be part of it. Oh, hey, baby. So,
do we got a guest?
We have a guest.
Do we got a
Is
guest?
that Lucas?
Mouth.
Come on.
Baby.
Come on. Let's see
Is
this
that Lucas?
baby.
Oh, my stars. You're a disaster. He's been out with Auntie.
Oh.
You want to play?
Hey.
Hi.
Can you say hi to Jay?
Say hi.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi,
Hey.
Jay.
Can you say hi to Ashley?
Oh, you're so sweet.
He's got a dirty
You're
mouth. and
so
everything.
sweet.
Lucas, you did great, buddy. You're a
Yeah,
natural.
a little cameo.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
Can you take him for real, though? My sister.
Hey.
Hey.
So do y'all now that you those first years y'all had 3, now it's 6. What is it like with the babies a little bit bigger now that they're a little bit older? Are they getting into more activities, and how is that with all the appointments you have going on? There's the life of a that's real right
real
there,
life.
baby.
There's real
That's real life.
You wanted a cameo? You got a cameo. Yeah.
So, what was the question again?
Well, just like
Sorry.
now that the babies are all kind of
Now
getting a
they're
little
older,
bit
like
bigger.
going to school and activities.
Yeah, and
like,
you're taking them to
just what's it look like now? Like what's going on?
So I would recommend to people like build good teams around yourself. Like if you're in business together and you are trying to have some boundaries and some life, you need to have a great transaction coordinator. That's my hugest
Yep.
like shout out to every transaction coordinator out there.
Yes.
Like you guys are amazing, and I don't think we could have a
Yes.
life or be parents the way that we are without that support. So if you're married and you're doing any amount of decent business, and also don't force your spouse to do something that they hate. So like we kind of figured out that yes, Paul can do data entry, but he doesn't love it, and I don't love it. And so it kind of became one of those things is like, well, you do it. No, you do it. Well, it had to get done.
Yeah.
It had to be done in a timely manner, and
Yeah.
we both really just like people. We like houses, we like people. We like the fun and the game of the negotiation and all those other aspects that we're good at. And it's not that we can't do paperwork. I just don't want to sit there and do paperwork. And so, and it takes a lot longer when you have interruptions. And I don't want to look at my children and my life as an interruption. I'm doing all of this for them. They're not an interruption for me. So, we've made the family part of it. We've taken kids on showings, on listings, on closings. I'm not saying I totally recommend it, but sometimes you just got to do what you have to do, and so pick your battles wisely and your opportunities carefully. But, there's no shame in being a great parent. There's no shame in being a couple that needs to get other things done or is just doing life in general. So I think sometimes, there's agents out there and they're extremely high-end professional, and you wouldn't know that they had a family of any kind. And that's fine if that's how you want to run your business, if you're capable of doing that. That is not our style. We're not capable of even doing that if we wanted to. So we've just kind of made the family part of it. The Calla Crew, hashtag Calla Crew. Like people know my kids sometimes before they know me. They're like, you're those guys. And I'm like,
you're those
yes,
guys.
We are. Yes, we are. And so have a great transaction coordinator and be careful about the hires that you do make. Like find ways that you can give yourself time back. Maybe that's having a yard person that's taking care of the yard for you that gives you those couple hours back in your weekend, or, for us,
that's actually something
that's in the house once a week, and with 6 kids and a full-time business, I was like, yes, I could spend time mopping and cleaning my floors and all those little places that I can't get to, or I could hire somebody to help me with that, once a week. and then
It creates that much more time.
have that much more sanity back. And, you know, and we're just trying to keep Ebola out of the house. You know what I'm saying? Like just keeping that to a minimum. Anyway.
You know, talking about the mowing the yard thing, that's something me and Jay, when we first got married, he was like, why do you mow your own yard? Like he just could not believe it. I don't know that he ever mowed his own yard.
No.
And he was like, and
find it therapeutic.
there you go. And so, but you go to like any business coach.
Wait a
like,
minute.
If you're mowing your own yard, you're not putting the dollar value on
No,
yourself.
babe. No. Remember when I got the zero turn for the first time? No, listen to this.
I get our farmhouse. Yes, he has.
I get a zero turn and I get on it and I'm like, this is amazing. And I'm like going and I'm going fast. And at one time, and I'm like running around these trees. And all of a sudden the zero turn starts going back down the hill, Paul. And I jump off of it and it goes flying down 8 foot down. And I'm standing there and it's damaged.
Jay is the destructor.
And I was like, this is not cool. I don't need to be on machines like this.
No. But anyway, okay. So I don't mow the yard anymore, but I did. That is something I actually did enjoy at that time in my life. So there are, like you said, I think it's important to say what I do even like to do and what you don't like to do is important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean,
and the right
go ahead.
reasons, like your business changes just like your marriage or your life changes.
Right.
So as our business has grown or gone more listing heavy or more, you know, like whatever's kind of going on with our business, like just being willing to adjust and pick up the slack. We kind of came up with a saying, I think in the midst of complete like exhaustion and turmoil is not the right word, but it was just crazy. Maybe turmoil is the right word, like insanity. That I think I was just looking at him one day and I was like, we were frustrated. I remember we were in a parking lot and we were both like at a 10. And I just stopped and I looked at him. I was like, look, I'm not against you. I'm for you. And I'm with you.
Oh,
and that I know, but like to this day, it stuck because it was just such like a moment where we're like, look, we are on the same side. Like,
yeah,
I'm not against
awesome.
You. I'm for you and I'm with you. And so even now, like I think just the other day, and it's not usually even now, thankfully, it's not like when we're fussing or fighting with each other over something, but it's like just as that affirmation, like, hey, babe, I know.
We're gonna make it through this.
Because, like, actually, as we talk about TCs, we just lost my TC, and I had just hired a marketing assistant to help me, thinking we could bump some things up, and then that didn't work out. So we're like, okay, as of this last weekend, it is back to Sunshine and Paul Callahan entirely. Like, we are the team. We roll in like we did year one. And I'm like interviewing TCs. I've interviewed 3 this morning. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know if I can replace who I have. I'm trying to figure this out. So we're just back to figuring it out.
Like, but I love that saying. I love I'm for you.
Yeah. And I would like y'all,
from your spouse.
It does.
If somebody was out there watching this podcast and they're either married to that realtor person or they're in a relationship, both realtors like this, what kind of advice would you give them as far as like how to make this business work? Because like I had a guy, I want to tell you guys this. I had a newer agent call me a week ago and he got into real estate and he had this thought that it was going to be like, he's like, dude, this is so much work. He's like, he was like, dude, I thought you guys put signs in yards and did videos. He said, dude, after you get the contract, I thought you just show up at closing and take pictures. I promise. And he was like, dude, I have been killing myself just to get it to the closing table. So people get stressed out in this industry. What would you say to a couple of keys that y'all have for either, it doesn't really matter whether they're a realtor and both of them are realtors and one of them's not. What's the key to keeping a successful marriage in a stressful industry like this?
Mandatory date night. You gotta, I mean, just like you schedule your appointments, you have to schedule time where you're both just away from everything. Shut the phones off if you have to, do whatever. And it's just you two together spending time with each other.
Paul, did I read this right? Did you just say that you schedule sexy time?
that's usually spur of the moment. 'Cause that's like,
Look at Amber. She's like, oh
We are
gosh.
not
That's-
going there. We schedule alone time.
Sexy time. No,
check.
she gets on the schedule and she goes,
It's on the
"There's
calendar.
2 of
it's
them."
Code word.
no, she gets on the schedule. Paul's put 2 of them on the calendar.
Like,
Like we're having a double date night, and that's not with other people.
Yeah.
Like, hold up. What's going on? No, like but seriously, having time to like really connect with your spouse, having sexy time.
She said it. I got her to say
It's
it.
true.
But like just having alone time, having time, like, and we've also figured out that as much as we like good food and things like that, like our perfect date night is doing something together. Like
Yep.
going out. Like the other night, I was like, do you want to just go get some jet skis and let's just blow off some steam? And I mean,
Nice.
it doesn't have to be a 5-hour date night. It can be 1 hour of like, I'm going to beat you to the other side of the lake, And so we enjoy that kind of stuff. We did date night apocalypse style the other night.
What?
oh yeah.
Tell us about
Tell us
this.
about that.
You've got 15 minutes. You've got 15.
You got a heads up
You got
that
a
the
heads up.
apocalypse is about to happen in 15 minutes. You've got whatever's in your pocket. We had about $30, and you have to go to a Walmart. You got 15 minutes to buy whatever it is. You're 100 miles from
$30.
home, and you have to get from that 100. You have to buy something.
How to make it home,
make it
100
home,
miles
100
away
miles.
with whatever you got on. No phone, no car, because it's an EMP or whatever. The end has come of reality.
So what
So
do you
I have
wait? You got
flip-flops on, like really bad flip-flops, and I'm like, 12 of my dollars is gonna have to go towards some
Shoes.
stupid tennis shoes. Like, we did a video. It's the worst. It is. I'm
The worst
not
live.
being kind. It is the worst Facebook Live I've ever done in my entire life.
I got to see this.
To not pull it down, because I feel like now that I've said it, people are. It's like you get to see this part of my face a lot, because I thought I had started with like explaining what we were doing, only to figure out about on the other side of the store that it's not even recording, and we were with another couple.
It was
So-
like,
That's
It was
hilarious.
a double date night challenge ridiculousness, and so yeah, you can go check that out. But we like to do things, so we find that like for a while our date nights started becoming like business meetings. Well, what did you find out from so and so?
Yes,
Did you
that
hear
is
back
easy
on
to do.
X, Y, or Z?
No.
When you start feeling that happen, you better switch it up. That is called a board meeting, not a date night.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
That is so
you know,
good.
and it happens to all of us. And, sometimes we'll say, okay, 5 minutes. I just need to, with you, discuss blah, so I can get it out of my system, and then we move on. But
Yep.
like quality time together is important. And I think just, we're believers. And so I think God being in the very center of everything that we do,
Absolutely.
having that place to come back to, like it's his word, not ours, his promise, not ours, and all those kind of things, like,
Right.
is a real super foundation just for our life in general. So
So go back.
primary.
So go back to the saying then that you say to each other, because that is from the Lord. So so say that again, and then I'm going to tell a story about that. So say what y'all saying is again.
Okay, so we'll say, I'm not against you, I'm for you, and I'm with you. So that's
Okay.
kind of our.
So we just had a real life example of this yesterday. And I'm not going to give all the details, but there was something that we had a substantial amount of money. Jay's like, oh, crap. Is she really going here?
What happened?
We had spent a substantial amount of money on something. And he chose to be a little bit scared of me and not tell me.
I know what it
Not
was.
tell me
Oh,
that.
let's not go into the
he
details
just
on that.
Blew it. It disappeared. So
Yeah.
a lot of money
I just blew it.
Blew it. He just
Let's just say
disappeared.
that.
For the last few months, I've talked about this item.
And I didn't want to tell her.
He's been engaged in conversations about me talking about this item, thinking we.
I
still
didn't
have this
lie. I just didn't tell her everything.
item, thinking we still had this item. Okay. And yes. Okay. And so even with his own dad, when
But
he was here, I talked about this item, and he was like in on the
it
conversation.
was a donation to somebody,
Okay,
though.
hold
So
on,
it was
hold on.
not like
Okay. So
it's a long story.
It's a long
We
story.
don't need to go
But-
into
but-
it.
But here's the deal here's what it actually did in that instant. Now I'm going to try not to cry. And that one instant right then. Like it made me love Jay even more
Really?
because I was like, whoa, I love this man that much. Like I am for him. Like I'm not
Like,
against
because
him.
I didn't tell you.
And it wasn't, but it wasn't. No, it was.
Oh
It was
my
not.
God.
It was the realization of the love that I have for him instantly. Like
Wow,
I think
that's
other times or other people might be so mad and so hurt and offended and personally hurt, but like instantly, I was like, it was instant forgiveness.
everybody's wondering, what did he do?
It was instant forgiveness, and it led to sexy time.
Hey,
It did.
Twice.
It did. It led to sexy time. It led to, if it leads to sexy
You
time,
can
it's
say that
good.
for sexy time.
Sometimes sexy time's real expensive when you're married. You know, I mean, no, but guys, listen.
But it's because of the love that God has for us, and I realized that in that one instance, and that's how I love Him, and so it was amazing. So thank y'all for sharing that and that saying.
Well, listen, you guys are amazing, and
We
y'all are
always
just
do this. You got to do the heart. We love y'all.
love you guys.
And then thank y'all for being on and sharing your hearts with us and with everybody that's on and going to watch this. And we have to put you on the spot. We end each couple kisses at the same time.
You gotta have a kiss.
1, 2, 3.
Mwah. Married to a Realtor podcast. Hey, love you, Paul and Sunshine Callahan, Orlando, Florida. Yeehaw, love you guys.
You're the best.
The best.
See y'all.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.